OX Alpha is officially no longer a mystery. Z.ai just revealed that the anonymous model everybody has been testing was actually GLM-5.3-Flash, and some of the details behind this release are honestly pretty wild. But that's not the only major model news happening right now. We're also getting new information about OpenAI's next generation of models, including a completely new pre-training run code named Bel. It is reportedly the successor to Doug and could have more than 10 trillion parameters at the exact same time. Rumors are starting to build around Gemini 4, with Google potentially preparing another major frontier model. And now, multiple posts are pointing toward Anthropic preparing Claude Fable 5.1 as soon as August 27th, potentially trying to move before Astra. So there's a lot happening right now. Let's start with OX Alpha, because this one is no longer a rumor. If you've been following AI over the last week, you've probably seen this mysterious model called OX Alpha popping up everywhere. It appeared anonymously on OpenRouter and OpenCode. People started testing it, comparing it against frontier models, and trying to figure out who actually made it. Well, now we know. Z.ai officially confirmed that OX Alpha was GLM-5.3-Flash. Basically, we were all beta testing its new model without knowing whose model it actually was. Mez.ai says it intentionally released GLM-5.3-Flash anonymously, so it could collect real-world feedback before the official launch. Apparently it worked. According to Z.ai, OX Alpha became the most popular model of the week. But here's where this gets even more interesting. Z.ai also says all of that OX Alpha traffic was served using Chinese AI chips. That is a pretty significant detail, because one of the biggest questions around Chinese AI companies has been whether they can continue scaling competitive models while dealing with restrictions around access to the newest NVIDIA hardware. And Z.ai is basically saying, yeah, we anonymously threw this thing onto OpenRouter, let everybody hammer it, and serve the entire thing using Chinese AI hardware. That's a statement. Now, let's talk about the actual model. GLM 5.3 Flash is a 320 billion parameter mixture of experts model, but only around 18 billion parameters are active for each token. So this is a very large model overall, but it isn't activating all 320 billion parameters every time you send it a prompt. That's part of how Z.ai is trying to get significantly more performance without making inference ridiculously expensive. This is also the first natively multimodal model in the GLM-5 family. Mez.ai says the model was trained using a new 30 trillion token multimodal pre-training corpus. The company also redesigned the architecture around efficiency by combining sparse attention with linear attention. I'm not going to turn this into an architecture lecture. The important part is that Z.ai is trying to solve the exact problem every AI company is dealing with right now. How do we make these models smarter without making them insanely expensive to run? That is where GLM 5.3 Flash becomes really interesting. Mez.ai isn't necessarily arguing that this is the single smartest model on Earth. It's arguing that the performance to cost ratio is extremely competitive on its own evaluations. GLM 5.3 Flash scored 63.4 on Deep Swap View compared with 46.2 for GLM 5.2. On Automation Bench, it jumped from 26.2 to 48.8, and on Z.ai's own code bench at maximum reasoning effort, GLM 5.3 Flash scored 29.0 compared with 29.5 for Claude Opus 4.8. Remember, those are vendor reported benchmarks. I always want to make that distinction. But even if we don't take every benchmark at face value, this is still a pretty impressive release, especially because Z.ai released the model weights under an MIT license. OX Alpha wasn't Gemini, it wasn't DeepSeek, it wasn't some secret OpenAI model. OX Alpha was GLM 5.3 Flash, mystery solved. While Z.ai is officially revealing its model, we're also getting a completely different type of story out of OpenAI. And I need to make one thing extremely clear. This next part is a leak. OpenAI has not confirmed it. A report originating from an account on X called SynthwaveDD claims that OpenAI recently completed another massive pre-training run internally codenamed Bel. That's B-E-L. According to the leak, Bel is the successor to another OpenAI pre-training project we've talked about before called Doug. The claim is that Bel contains more than 10 trillion total parameters. 10 trillion. Again, that number is not confirmed by OpenAI. But if it is accurate, we're talking about an absolutely enormous pre-training run. The leak suggests Bel could become part of the foundation for OpenAI's next generation of frontier systems around Astra, GPT-6, and potentially whatever comes after that. This matters because Astra itself is real. That part isn't speculation anymore. OpenAI has publicly called Astra one of its upcoming models earlier this month. The company revealed something pretty crazy about it. OpenAI said its internal evaluations showed such significant improvements in agentic coding and cybersecurity that it could not rule out Astra reaching its critical cybersecurity capability threshold. That is OpenAI saying this, not a leak, not speculation on X. OpenAI, the company, strengthened its internal security requirements around Astra and paused some activities involving the model until those workloads could meet the new requirements. So we already knew Astra was looking substantially more capable internally. Now we have this separate leak claiming OpenAI has already finished yet another enormous pre-training run after Doug. If that leak is accurate, that's what makes this story so interesting. It would suggest that OpenAI isn't just squeezing more reinforcement learning out of the same generation of models. The company may have successfully returned to massive base model pre-training. That could matter a lot more than another incremental model update. Better reinforcement learning can make an existing model much more capable, but a substantially better base model gives you a new foundation that you can apply all of that post-training in reinforcement learning to. That's potentially where the larger jump comes from. I've also seen claims that Bel is somehow supposed to lead directly toward an AGI level model. I'm not going to tell you that as fact. We don't even have one universally agreed definition of AGI, and OpenAI hasn't confirmed that Bel exists. So the interesting part isn't the AGI label. The interesting part is the possibility that OpenAI completed another extremely large frontier pre-training run. That's the thing I'm watching. There's one more part of this story that just surfaced. In a post published August 26th, the same account on X SynthwaveDD claimed that Anthropic may not be waiting around for Astra after all. According to the post, preparations are ramping up for a launch as soon as August 27 or early next week at the latest. That post did not name the model, but a separate post from AI Leaks and News points toward Claude Fable 5.1. It claims Fable 5.1 is being prepared for release and cites reports that some Claude web users are already being routed from Fable 5 to Fable 5.1. The claim is that an official release could happen as soon as Thursday, August 27. Now, I need to be clear, this is still not an official Anthropic announcement. Anthropic has not published a Fable 5.1 release date. We do not have official benchmarks, pricing, or an API announcement. And users being routed to a different backend is evidence worth watching, but it is not the same thing as a public launch. The older reporting does add some context. Earlier leaks around Sonnet 5 and the Fable 5 release were followed by actual launches, but that history does not automatically prove this new timing claim is right. Taken together, the two August 26 posts make Fable 5.1 the strongest candidate for the Anthropic launch people are watching. And if Anthropic is preparing it now, the company may be trying to get in front of Astra instead of responding after Astra lands. That is my read on the timing, not a confirmed Anthropic strategy. The practical takeaway is simple. Watch Fable 5.1 over the next several days, but do not treat August 27th as a guaranteed release date. Google obviously isn't sitting still either. Unlike Bel, Gemini 4 itself is confirmed. Google publicly announced in July that it had started what it described as its most ambitious pre-training run yet, specifically for Gemini 4. So Gemini 4 is real, Google is training it, that's confirmed. Where things start getting questionable is the release date. There are rumors suggesting Gemini 4 could arrive as early as the first week of September. I've also seen claims of a roughly 1.5 million token context window, major upgrades to browser use, terminal use, and tool use, and even claims that internal evaluations have it beating models like GPT-5.3 Sol and Claude Fable 5. I cannot independently verify those claims. Google has not published Gemini 4 benchmarks, there's currently no public Gemini 4 API, and Google has not officially announced a September release date, so treat those numbers as rumors for now. But here's why I'm still paying attention. Google didn't just say it was working on Gemini 4. The company called this its most ambitious pre-training run yet. That's a very specific choice of words, and Google has something most AI labs would kill to have its own enormous TPU infrastructure. If the next stage of the AI race swings back toward increasingly massive pre-training runs, Google is one of the companies structurally positioned to participate in that race. The real question is timing, because Google has had delays with some of its recent frontier releases. Whether Gemini 4 appears in early September is a completely different question from whether Gemini 4 exists. It exists. The September date is the rumor. When you put all three of these stories together, I think we're starting to see the next phase of the model race. On one side, you've got companies like Z.ai aggressively pushing open weight, extremely cost-efficient models. GLM-5.3-Flash doesn't have to be every closed model at everything. If it can get close enough while costing dramatically less, that's already a huge win. Then you have OpenAI potentially scaling massive pre-training again, while Astra is already demonstrating capabilities significant enough that OpenAI itself is increasing the security around the model. Anthropic may also be preparing Fable 5.1 as a near-term response, although that model and launch timing remain unconfirmed by Anthropic. And then you have Google publicly saying that Gemini 4 is its most ambitious pre-training run yet. Everybody is attacking the same problem from slightly different directions: better base models, better efficiency, better agents, and dramatically more compute. The next couple of model releases are probably going to tell us whether we're still getting incremental improvements or whether we're about to see another major jump. For now though, the one mystery we can officially put to rest is OX Alpha. OX Alpha was GLM 5.3 Bel. Looks extremely interesting, but remains an unconfirmed leak. Fable 5.1 may be preparing for a near-term launch, but Anthropic has not announced one, and Gemini 4 is definitely being trained. We're just waiting to find out whether the September rumors are real. I'll keep following all three of these, and as soon as we get something concrete, I'll update you guys. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next one.